we just wanted to hop on here and share some things about, creating your dream board. We're going into 2021, and I think sometimes it's something that gets kind of brushed under the rug, and I even like totally wasn't in like the thought process of like, oh yeah, I need to revamp that and like redo that and whatever. And so kind of getting in that mindset of, setting new goals for 2021, or maybe goals that you didn't accomplish this year, revamping them, kind of figuring out what you want your goals for 2021 to be and how to do that. And so we're going to be here to help you. And something that I like that we're doing is kind of doing like a prep Zoom tonight. So we'll be talking about tips about what to put on your dream board, what, reasonable goals, also pushing yourself, difference between vision board, dream board, all the things. And then you can kind of prepare what you want to be on your dream board. And then tomorrow night we can just hop on, I'll play some music, and we can just create our dream boards and actually put it together so that you guys have time to prepare that. And so I have some girls on here that are going to speak too. But the first thing I kind of want to explain, and it's something that I didn't know the first couple of years that I was in the business and made my dream board, was that there's a huge difference between a dream board and a vision board, and you can have both on the same, or you can do two different ones. People do it differently, but there's a difference between your vision and like your actual dreams for 2021. For example, there's things on my dream board right now, which this upcoming year, something that I'm going to change is actually doing it literally half and half, like putting a line down the middle and doing things for my vision and things for 2021, because I kind of put them all together, and then it gets confusing when I look at my dream board and see things that I know aren't going to happen in 2021. They're going to happen within like the next, 5 years. That's my vision of what I want. So I know the direction I'm going, but they're not things that I could necessarily cross off. And so there's a difference between those and then other goals that are tangible for me to actually reach in 2021 are completely different. And those are my dreams for that year that I actually want to be able to, by the end of the year, cross them all off and be working towards them throughout the year, if that makes sense. And so kind of some examples that I can just give like from my personal dream board by looking at it. And there's different things that you can put on your dream board. There's personal things, spiritual things, physical things. Like I put on mine, read 2 books a month. And then I found Audible and I absolutely love it. And I listen to probably 2 or more books a month. And so I'm able to reach that goal for myself. Maybe it's getting in shape. Maybe it's, running a mile a day, or eating healthier, or different goals that you can have personally for yourself, but then also business-wise too. So some for, let's see, this year for 2020 was like pay for my wedding in cash, be able to buy a house. Some of those I said, read 2 books a month, give back a certain amount. I had a income goal for myself, so how much I wanted to make every single month. So those are kind of goals for like a specific year, but then I have other ones like we want to eventually be able to have rental properties. We eventually want to move, which I haven't really told anybody, but that's like not going to happen this year, but it's going to happen in like the future, that I want to create my vision and be working towards something bigger so that I can eventually have those things. So bigger things that you want, and they're in your vision so that you're still staying in that track. But they might not happen right this second, which is okay. And it's good to have both. And so that's my goal, is to kind of have things split down the middle. Another thing for like 2021 is like office furniture. Like my office is the same as it was since we moved in. I have a desk and that's about it. And I'm like, okay, I want to do something, but I want to be able to do it. I don't know. So that's something that I want to. And so there's just different things that you can put on it. But another thing is like making them reasonable, but also pushing yourself. Somebody said on a Zoom, Christy Christensen, is she a double ambassador now? She's a double ambassador. She said that she had things on her dream board that she could already accomplish. She put it on there like, I want to be able to renovate my house. And then she was looking at it and she's like, well, I could technically already do that, even though maybe you would want like more in savings before you did it or whatever. She's like, I could technically do that with my income right now. So I need to like dream bigger and, find things that are actually going to push me. And I found myself that I do that too. Or then sometimes we do the opposite, where maybe some of those things that are in your vision, you put them on like your 2021. And then when you don't accomplish it, because it's so not tangible for 1 year to happen in 1 year, like maybe it's like go ambassador within, 6 months. Okay, well, that's not really tangible to where you're actually going to want to work for it versus, the next couple ranks, you're going to be more willing to work for it. And it's going to feel like you can actually do it versus pushing you away from it because it's too far-fetched. I'm kind of going to stop there and let some other people say things, then I can like trickle in different tips that I think of as we go. Does anyone want to start specifically? Anna?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
You want me to just wing it, or are you going to ask me something specific?
No, just maybe like, do you have a story about something that was on, like, that the dream board has helped you with something? And then just tips.
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys don't know me, I'm Hannah. I have actually been in the business. It'll be 4 years on New Year's Eve. Yay. Can't believe it's already been 4 years. But if I was looking back, I'm going to be completely honest, you guys, I did not make a dream board when I first got started. I thought it was silly. I just kind of overlooked it. It is definitely something that I wish I would have done sooner. And then I also wish last year was actually the first year I did make one. I had some goals in my mind that I wanted to achieve for the business, but I never actually made a board or took pictures or wrote it down anywhere. I just kind of had a general idea of like what I wanted to accomplish. And like I said, in hindsight, I wish I would have made the board. Last year I did make the board and I totally surprised myself. But one thing I will say I wish I would have done is been more specific. And I'll share kind of what I mean by that. Last year specifically, I knew I wanted to pay off medical debt. If you know me, if you know my story, I share quite often about my history of like miscarriages and pregnancy, infertility, and loss. I have so much debt, you guys, that my name specifically was on that from the past that just built up and built up and built up. And as a single mom, I was living paycheck to paycheck as it was. And so like there was no extra money to make towards those payments. So it just kept going to collections and kept going to collections and kept building. I had no idea what that exact amount was. I just kind of knew general that I needed to pay on that stuff. When I did my taxes this year, I realized I paid off $14,000 just last year alone in medical debt. And I had no idea I was so close and completely paying it off if I just knew that exact number, because now I only have like, I can't remember exactly, but close to $4,000 left. And I could have paid all of that off and been medically debt free if I would have known that. So like if you have a specific goal, you know, be more specific and not just general, because you'll surprise yourself of what you can do, and just put it on there and work towards it. And then, so technically I paid off medical debt, but didn't completely complete that because I only missed it by 4,000, but I didn't know that. And then some other things, you know, I wanted to go part-time, and I actually have been 3 weeks now part-time at the hospital as a nurse. That was on my dream board. It's something I absolutely would have never dreamed of doing when I first started. I was a single mom. I literally had like $4.53 in my bank account when I started. It just blows my mind that I'm now part-time at the hospital, because I never thought that was possible. I knew 4 years ago that I wanted to make a change. I did not know that I wanted to come home from my job. I love being a nurse. I love taking care of babies, but I'm able to do that now, and I'm able to still be at home with my own babies. And so that went on my dream board last year, and here I am ending out 2020 as a part-time nurse and full-time mom. So just, even if it's out of reach, you just have to kind of get out of your comfort zone and just put it on there anyway. And just don't let anybody else affect those thoughts or kind of knock you down. Just know that you can do it, and put it on your dream board and just go for it.
Yeah, and you guys pray about it, because I feel like there's sometimes where like here I said like don't, I don't know, make it reasonable, but don't make it so far, but you know, like all those things. But there's times where God's going to put something on your heart that you feel like isn't tangible and isn't going to happen, that if it's put on your heart for a reason and you set your mind to it, it's going to happen, especially if you're trusting that God's going to send you the right people and lead you through that, and you're being faithful to that. Because like when I went from, you know, executive to Emerald that 1 month that they had a $5,000 bonus, like what, 2 years ago, I don't know. that probably wouldn't have been something that I would be like, oh yeah, that's totally reasonable to go from executive to emerald in 1 month. Like, it's just not, because you like plan it in your head, like, okay, if I go ruby the next month and then emerald the next month and then maybe like diamond, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of like try to justify it and like plan it out. But if you just trust it, and if you have a gut feeling that I'm supposed to go emerald like in January, then trust that and work towards it and set that, but don't, because you'll let yourself slide. Just like she said, be specific, because if you would have just put, which you kind of did, like pay off medical debt, but you didn't know a number, you technically did pay off medical debt, but you didn't set a number to actually reach that specific goal. You know what I mean? Like, you're reaching the general goal, but you're not setting and reaching the specific goal. And then the other thing I thought of when you were talking was like, put it somewhere where you can see it. Like, just making it and putting it in a closet isn't going to help you out. And there's even times where I have to move it around because I'm like, I'm not seeing it often enough for it to be in my head every single day, versus if it's like right in front of wherever you normally work, or put it on, you know, in your bathroom next to your mirror where you get ready every day. I don't know, in your room somewhere where you're going to see it every day. You're going to think about it every single day. And once you think about it so many times and it says, I am diamond, or whatever it says on your dream board, you're going to tell it to yourself so many times and read it so many times that you're going to believe it to actually make it happen. So
I was going to say too, because I would think like, oh, I'll put it in my office where I work. Well, I'm going to be honest, you guys, there are some days I don't even step foot in this office because I'm too busy with my kids or work or whatever. So I need it like in my bathroom mirror when I'm brushing my teeth. Buy my coffee maker, because Lord knows I'm going to have that coffee every day. Like, make it somewhere where you can see it.
Jenna, didn't Kayla put sticky notes all over your house? We'll just go into you.
Yeah, so when I was pushing for triple, Kayla came over one day and took that off my dream board and literally put sticky notes all over my house, like front door, Aiden's door at the time, because it was my nursery door. So I saw it every single morning, every single night. I saw it. Put it on my coffee maker. She put one on the dashboard of my car, like my car. She put it, literally, it was everywhere. And honestly, it helped so much. At the time, I thought it was stupid, and Patrick was like, what the heck is she doing? And I didn't know either. I was like, I don't know what she's doing. I have no clue. She just takes over. But it worked. It worked because I saw it every single day, and I kept repeating it to myself, even though I was self-consciously thinking there is no way. Like, I am so far away from this. I just kept it on repeat. I am triple diamond, I am triple diamond, I am triple diamond. And it happened. I don't know how, it just happened. And I really feel like whenever you're vision casting, the first couple of years, I didn't make a dream board because I didn't even know what to dream about. I wasn't taught to dream, and I wasn't taught to, I grew up on a farm. I'm a farm girl. I had, we lived paycheck to paycheck, and like, I just wasn't taught. My family used credit cards. Like, I wasn't taught anything about any of that stuff. So I didn't know how to dream. So I just watched all my uplines and sidelines dream, and they were posting their, their dream boards. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I have to be honest, last year was the first time I actually made a dream board with printed pictures, words, and some of it was really far-fetched, and some of the dreams we actually got, Patrick, I think like the most important thing you want to go into this is talk to your family, talk to your significant other, and see what their dreams are. It's not just about you. I think that is like the biggest takeaway. And especially with these new bonuses and everything that's released, I want you to, and I think I heard Pam talk about it, it's not so much about you. So I'm making 2 boards this year. I'm making more of like a vision board for me and my family. And then I'm going to make a team vision board. So I am focused on like, I want to help 5 girls go emerald, because we know emerald's like the money maker now. So it's like, I want you to focus on like making what's going to help your team get to their goals and complete their vision on their dream board. Because in return, if they're hitting those goals and you're helping them hit those goals, you're going to hit your goals on your dream board automatically. It's just automatically going to push over to you. So I think, like Courtney said, she's going to put a line down the middle of hers. I think I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm going to do one side, my vision for me and my family, and then what I foresee my team doing, what I foresee, helping them achieve in their dreams as well. And, Patrick, I asked Patrick, I said, if you could have one thing on our dream board, what are your goals? And he wanted a Jeep. No clue why. And we got a Jeep. And it was because we looked at this picture every single day. And it was one of the things we got crossed off, and we just crossed off our Peloton. And just make your dream boards. Don't make the mistake of not doing it. They're worth it. You don't have to show anybody. Just put it somewhere where you see it every single day. Your significant other sees it, so they know what you're pushing for. Don't keep it quiet. Make sure you're asking them what they want and foresee your future looking like. This year, like Courtney said, in 5 years from now, what do you picture? So I picture this year of going debt-free, credit card-wise, maybe down to one car payment, which is what I want. And then our house, which isn't considered debt according to like Dave Ramsey. So, that's our goal for this year, is to make sure we have all that debt gone. And that way we can sit, I'm working part-time, got 2 babies. I can just concentrate on that and not worry about all those little bills. And that's what we got into the business for. We got into the business to dream that big and, get out of the debt that we had created prior with Patrick. I mean, you just get into trouble sometimes. But, I just think you just got to set those goals, but most importantly, just make sure you're talking to your family and figuring out what they see this business doing for, you guys as well. So.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned the pictures, like, of the exact thing that you want. Because there are some things on my dream board that are worth, like, read 2 books. Okay, I'm not going to print out pictures of books, but, like, the things that you truly want, like, for example, last year I had, last year and earlier this year, before we bought our house, I had pictures on my dream board of, like, styles of houses that I liked. So now they were on my dream board. And our house looks similar to those because that's what I wanted, and I saw it every day, and that's what we ended up buying. Like, it's just so crazy how it aligns like that. And there's a story of somebody, I don't know who it is, dreamed of, like, this lake house, and they had this picture on their dream board of this exact lake house. And I swear to you, their lake house looks exactly like the photo, even though it's a totally different one, which is insane. But that's what happens when you see it over and over again. And obviously it's something that you want, but you see it, you visualize it. And once you visualize it, you're going to start to actually feel like it can become real, versus if she just wrote Jeep on her dream board, they might not have got it because they didn't see the actual picture of it. And especially when you see it, I feel like you, not like materialistically, but like you want it more. Like you want to accomplish it more. When you can actually visualize it and see it, it just makes it more real. And so we didn't go on our honeymoon because of COVID, but I still have Jamaica on our dream board, and there's like pictures of Jamaica on my dream board. I want to see that every day. I want to see the palm trees and the ocean and make me want to work towards it so that we can actually take the trip. You know what I mean? So Jalen, if you want to give your tips.
Yeah, so mine's basically going to go off like everybody that's talked so far, because I feel like all the things I had have already been said. But for sure, when Courtney told me to make a dream board last year, it's funny because she always asked too, like when I was making it, like what are those going to do for you? And it wasn't in a bad way. It's just she knew there was more to my dream board that needed to be on there than what I was putting on there. And now I see it because I've been in for over a year. But like when I first made it, I was like, this is so silly. Like I don't understand what the heck I'm supposed to be putting on this thing. But one of the things that definitely helped was putting it in front of me. So like when I moved in June, I had my dream board in front of me the whole half of the year, like the first half of the year. And Courtney will tell you, I was on fire the first half of the year. But when I moved and I put it in my closet thinking, well, because it's on the wall in my closet still. So I was like, oh, I'll see it all the time. Like I go in there every day to pick out clothes. No, I don't ever look at it. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've looked at it since I've moved. So definitely having it in front of you is definitely beneficial, because when I saw it every day, I worked towards the things that were on it. And the things that were on my dream board last year are kind of silly because I didn't know what to put on it, but I definitely put like, I want to go ruby by this month, and I want to go emerald by this month, and diamond by this month. And while that's a good thing, I feel like it's really important too to like keep up with your team, and like for me to talk to Courtney and Courtney to talk to me, just to make sure that if I have a goal to achieve ruby by this month, Courtney and me are on the same page of where we need to be in order for me to reach that goal, if that makes sense. So definitely, like Jenna said, understanding what your team wants and understanding where their vision aligns so that you can work with them to achieve their goals is really important. And then kind of like Hannah said, just having more of like a number in mind when you're setting your goals. So like for me, I've had this medical bill just like Hannah has, that's literally been astronomical for literally however long I've been paying on it, and it just won't go away. But I just put like pay off medical bill on there, not knowing the number. And I told Courtney halfway through the year, I was like, I really just need to write numbers down, and I really just need to like see the number every day and see how much I'm paying off on it to get it down. And I never did that. So something I'm going to do on my dream board this year is literally set aside numbers for things and make sure that I have charts and everything in front of me to achieve those numbers, because I feel like it's definitely more beneficial when you see your number going down versus you just see the big number on your board and you're like, oh yeah, that's achievable, but you don't know where you stand with that number. So definitely using more numbers on your dream boards will be beneficial. And even just using like, I put like using interactive charts on your dream board. So like, even if we did one of the, I don't remember, like thermostat things, and you can like color it in as you achieve, that might be beneficial for some people too. I'm more of like a visual person, so I like to be able to interact with it and like cross it off and make sure that I'm achieving them. And then this is another thing, I lost track of my chart. And so I do this a lot too. Like I'll put them in my planners or something, and then I'll totally just lose it. And then I have to redo it all the time. So something I'm going to do this year too is have 2 charts made up, and then I'll just update them and keep one on my dream board each month. Even if I don't update it as much, at least at the end of the month, I know where I stand. And so going into the next month, it's not as hard for me to keep up with it and update it. And then that way you always have it in front of you. You know where you're standing, you know how close you are to reaching that next goal on your dream board. So whether that's ruby or emerald or diamond or what bonus you're going for, you always have it in front of you and you have an idea of where you stand, even if you don't have it completely updated to that date. So that's just some of my ideas and my tips for all of you.
I love it. And that's funny because I remember when I did that dream board party and you were on Zoom because you couldn't come. And you sent me a picture of her. She sent me a picture of her dream board. And I literally asked her with some of the things because I knew that she could already accomplish it now. Or like, you know what I mean? And so I literally said, like, could you already do that? And she's like, well, technically. I was like, okay, let's like, that's what she's talking about. Like, let's step it up a step. And that's something I challenge you to do too, is when you write down these goals that you want to put on your dream board, like make a list of them, kind of like dream through it, think it out first. Ask yourself that question with each one. Like go through one and be like, okay, this is my goal. Could I technically do that now? And that doesn't mean that you can't still want it or still put it on there, but make sure you're putting other things that are actually going to push you to make more of an income and make more of a change that's going to be able to get you further versus like staying content and staying in the same spot because you could technically buy that one item right now. Like I've had a MacBook on my dream board for like a year. I haven't bought one yet because I'm just stingy and I have a laptop. And so I could technically do that now, but I also have other things that are like pushing me income wise, even though I won't bite the bullet and buy it. But that, and then having it in front of you, I feel like is self-convicting. Because when you see it there and you haven't reached it yet, even though you told yourself that you would and you want to, and you haven't yet, your instinct is to be like, oh, I wanted that, I'm going to work towards it. But if you're not seeing it every day, you're just letting yourself slide, and you're not, it's just like, I don't want to go to church because I don't want them to make me feel guilty about the things that I'm sinning for. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing. Like if you're not putting it in front of you, it's probably because you're not doing the things to reach your goals and you're going to feel guilty about it. So that's why I like having that, because it's like, okay, I have these conversations with myself of like, okay, you're not there yet. You better kick your butt into gear because you have things on here and it's, halfway through the year. And so doing that. And then something else about when she was saying, if you want to go diamond, tell your leader that. because they can be there to push you and help you. But if they don't know that you're going towards a goal, it's really hard for them to help and like keep you accountable and work with you on that. And so it reminded me of something that someone said, you know, because sometimes there is goals that shout them out to people, you know, on social media and whatever. But there's also times where somebody said, don't tell everybody your biggest goals because they'll think that you're crazy, because other people can't wrap their head around it. It's just like if you post that you earned a $10,000 bonus, people can't wrap their head around the fact of $10,000 being in their hands. And so if you post about gas money or grocery money, people can wrap their heads around that. And so they said, don't tell just anybody and everybody your goals, because they're going to knock you down and say, there's no way that you can buy a house at 22 years old. There is no way that you can do this. There's no way that you can do that. So if you tell the people that you trust aren't going to knock you down like that and keep your goals small, you're almost like protecting your goals and dreams, is how they explained it. And I thought it was so cool because I feel like it's true. You know, there are goals that I have that I've told my husband. I might have told some of my sidelines and my upline, but I really haven't told anybody else because my parents would probably look at me like I was freaking crazy if I said it. And so I don't want to have that knock me out of, you know, my mindset, my vision. And so I keep it to myself so that I can stay in my own lane and stay focused and don't let the naysayers have an opinion about it, if that makes sense. But your leader is one of those people that nobody has a leader that if you tell them, you know, I eventually want to, you know, I want to go full time this year with this business, they're not going to tell you, oh my gosh, there's no way that you can do that. Nobody's going to tell you that. And so trust the people in this business. This is why we have the community, is because I can reach out to Hannah or, you know, Kayla or other people in the business and tell them my dreams. And they're not going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so far-fetched. They're going to say, yeah, it's going to take hard work, but that's super cool. And then guess what? When you actually reach it, I get to say, oh my gosh, you actually did it. Like Taylor just bought a car and she's been telling me about it and so excited about it. And then they finally did it and I got to celebrate with her. You know, it's more fun to do it together than it is just to do it by yourself. So that's just kind of extra stuff. But does anyone have anything else to add?
I would just say also, like, make your goals attainable. Like, you know, you hear us talk about buy a house, buy a car, pay off $14,000 in medical debt. It doesn't have to be those big, massive goals, you guys, especially if you're just getting started. It can be as easy as, you know, pay for all of your gas this month with this income, or pay for your groceries, or take your kids on a small trip in cash. Like, it doesn't have to be this big, huge goal that you've been dreaming of your whole life. It can literally be, you know, read one book a month, like Courtney said, or 2, or go for exercise 4 days out of 7 for the week. Like, you can start with small, and then, you know, as you get there and you start achieving things, like, you can always add bigger things to it. Just don't set yourself up for failure and have all these big, massive goals, and yet here you are at the end of the year and you're like, I haven't achieved any of these. Like, you want to kind of do a mix and match of small and big.
Yeah, and there's so many different like areas too. You don't want to do like only business ones, or that's not going to be fun. Like, if I look at my dream board and all I saw was like rank, income, like build however many diamonds, like all of that, I would be like, okay, cool. But like when I see the things that I actually want to get out of it, like that income will provide me with, that's what makes me want to work for those things, because I know it will get me those other things. So just some like categories that you can include in your dream board, and you can write these down or listen to the recording, but some of them are like personal goals. So that could be like reading the 2 books a month, giving back is kind of, I'm trying to look at my dream board and like give examples. Physical goals, those could be, you know, eating healthier, going to the gym, running outside, I don't know, whatever your physical goals are, you know, doing dance videos, I don't know. Spiritual goals, so like going, maybe it's starting, you know, going to a Bible study, or just reading the word every single morning, or doing a devotional every morning, or, you know, different things like that. And then business goals, you know, I always put my goal rank for that year big on the top of my dream board. And then I also put my goal income, my monthly goal income. And that kind of goes with like, if you look at the income disclosure, you can kind of use that to base it off of that. But you can also like once again, pray about it and see what God puts on your heart, because a diamond can make more than $2,000 a month. So put that goal, you know what I mean? Like put that monthly income goal that you have on there so that you can see that number every day. Because when I see that number, I'm like, holy crap, okay, let's get to work. That'd be really cool. You know, things like that. And then I'm trying to think of others, and then obviously vision things. So things that you want in the future, that maybe there are things that you think like, I'll never be able to do that. And for me, when it first started, was like, I would never be able to work this business full time. I never thought that was possible. It was one of those like far-fetched things, but I thought that would be really cool. And if I would have put it on my dream board, you know, obviously I did it, but if I would have put it on my dream board, that would have been a good one for like vision wise. Or like buying a house was on my dream board, like when I first got my first apartment. So it wasn't something that I could do right then, but it was in my vision and then it happened. So like really setting yourself up for success in the future by dreaming about those things now and envisioning that. And that's going to help you believe more to do those little things, because they'll build up to that. And there's sometimes where I even look at something that probably won't happen for a few more years, but I look at it and I get excited. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a good day. That's going to be fun. But I have to keep working now so that I can get myself to that point at that stage in my life. You know what I mean? And so I already think about like staying home with my kids and like, what if I want to send them to, you know, daycare or school for part of the day, or all those things that it's going to take an extra, you know, more income and more, you know, work to be able to get to that point. And I don't even have kids, but I still think about it because that's my vision for, you know, 5 years down the road. And so just like fully thinking through that, and don't dream shallow. I feel like sometimes, especially when you first join, you dream like really shallow, because like Jenna said, we're not taught to dream. We're taught to, the society like lays out things for you. Go to school, get a job, you know, rent for however many years, then buy a house, then get married, you know, or get married, then have kids, then do this, then do that. And we're not taught to like go outside of that and dream of bigger things at either a sooner spot in your life, or, you know, more than what people think that you should have. I'm from a super small town, and so it's very like minimalist, which isn't a bad thing. But it's interesting because a lot of times my family's like, you want to do what? Like, you want to buy what? Like, they just don't get it because they can't wrap their head around it, which is okay. But starting to train yourself early, or if you're a newer DT, starting to train yourself early and kind of stepping into that, because it's not going to be immediate. It's going to be something that you kind of grow with. So does anyone have any questions or anything to add? Before tomorrow, I would just encourage you to like literally Google. If you want a certain car, Google it, like the same exact color that you want, the same make, model, year, everything, and print out those exact pictures so that you can cut them out and put them on your dream board. We can post like some pictures of, or I can show you guys tomorrow when I hop on and show you guys examples. But you can get like fun scrapbook paper, you can get cool stickers, whatever you want, just to make it fun and something that you want to look at every day. You can just use a regular poster board too, or you can get like a cork board if you have one already. You can really do it however you want. There's no right or wrong. It's just, if it's there and you're looking at it, it's going to be beneficial. Does anyone have anything to add, or otherwise we can hop off? Y'all good? Okay, well, we will get on tomorrow. I'll post what